Okay, alright. Can you guys hear me? I don't know if you can hear me. Let me see. Yeah, I'll do some remakes. I do, for those that are really asking the question on the remakes, hopefully you guys can hear me. I don't know if you guys can hear me just yet. I do plan on moving away from remakes and start focusing on my own music. So as far as remakes goes, yes, I'll be doing remakes. I do plan on moving away from remakes and start focusing on my own music. So as far as remakes goes, but I mean, yes, remakes are available. They're still there. They're an option. So what's going on, guys? Gonna talk about music theory. So there's a few things about music theory that a lot of people ask is what do the lines and all these things that you're looking at on this piece of paper really mean? So first and foremost, if you could see it right here, this is what we call the staff. Now the staff usually comes in a set of 2 for piano. So we're just going to be focusing on what's it? It's 12:05 right now, so we'll probably just be focusing an hour on just the basic stuff right there. Yeah, okay, I could do some Bone Thugs and Harmony. Cool, yeah, I could do that. So what we're going to do is just work kind of on like the basics of what a staff is and what it represents in a basic format. We're going to do treble and bass. So with treble and bass, there's always bass, as you just know that by the name, it's low sounds, and treble is high sounds. So typically when you hear like EQing, like in your car stereo, you have your low end, your high end. That's really what it is, essentially. So I want to break down to you guys if I can. I'm going to try to do this as best as I can in the best way possible for you guys so you can see what I'm doing here. So you can see, bam. I want you guys to know that this book right here, if you can see, it's a complete musician's guide right here. It's my Bible. A lot of people, if you see me at the school, you'll notice that I carry this in my backpack because I love to read it. I'm a geek when it comes to music, and it tells you everything you need to know. Literally from basics of the staff to analyzing music in what we call modal tones. So in the future, I probably want to talk about that, modal tones later, but I'm just going to be really focusing probably just on C major right now within the hour. So if you guys have questions, I have my phone out, so I'm watching it for the questions on there. I know this might be kind of a lot, and it's going to be kind of confusing, but if it's confusing, let me know. To answer your question, Show, the guitar I use for 21 questions is an electric guitar with a wah and a phaser put on it. Alright. Let me try to do something a little bit differently here so that way I can see your comments more. So I'm going to just start on the two, what we could say the two, just start on the two, like, see here, the two clefs here. We call them clefs or staves. Staves, you could say. Perfect, I got it right there. That's where I like it. Alright. Now, do it a little bit brighter. Okay, so when it comes to, let's see here, the treble clef, we have a few things we want to talk about. First and foremost, is this going to be easy? No, it's not. Well, I mean, I don't want to scare you. It's not going to be hard. Give me 1 minute, I'll be right back. Sorry for the wait, guys. Okay, I'm back. So, we're talking about the staff here. Now, a few things I want to chat with you guys about is what the staffs represent. How do you represent a staff? Okay, well, to represent a staff, you have to kind of bring them together first. If you bring them together like this, you'll probably see like a curvature like that, and like this right here at the end here. Okay, now with that being said, this right here kind of gives you the tools you need to see that it's being put together. Because if you don't see this right here, let me see if I can see right here, it's a little terrible, but if you don't see that right there, that means that these staff are representing different things. So we're representing the piano, so we're going to keep it like this. Okay, we want to kind of have that connector right there. Okay, if I can, I probably let's make it kind of easier for you here, and just draw it out again, so that way you can see it better. So you'll see that connection right there. Now that tells me that I'm using an instrument with a bass and a treble. Okay, so what you want to learn first is what is a treble, where does the treble go. It's important to know where you put your bass and your treble at. It's very important. So what we call, another name what we call it, the treble clef, what it looks like is we call it the G clef. Now we haven't learned notes yet or anything like that because we're just starting from the bottom, but just know, let's call the treble clef the G clef. And the reason why we call it the G clef is because this line right here is G. Okay, on the second line we're going to start a dot, we're going to curve around it till we hit about the F line, and we're going to come all the way back up, we're going to stop at the top F line, and we're just going to go through all the notes or all the lines right here, and that's what we call a treble clef right there. Let me get it better. Right there. See, that's a treble clef right there. Okay. Now, the bass clef. The bass clef, what I call the bass clef is, we call it the F clef. What is the F clef? Again, we haven't gotten to the notes yet, but just know that treble's G clef, bass is F clef. I'm going to start on the F note right here. I'm going to start on the F. Let's see if I can get it better. I'm going to start on the F, and I'm going to curve all the way around, cross the F again, and stop to this G here. And then you're going to put two dots in the G. I'm sorry, and the E, and then the G right here. E, G, E. Okay, right there. Let's have you take a look right there. And that's how you draw a treble, the bass. So that's just the basics of the F clef and all that kind of G clef, F clef. So that's treble and bass clef. So you say that if you're like a beginner, you'll say that so that way you can remember yourself when you're drawing it to draw on the G note and then draw on the F note. So that way you don't look kind of silly doing it. All right. Here's the big I guess you could say the big change. I'm gonna get me a bigger piece of paper and I'm drawing out the lines so that way you can see what I'm doing, because this is staff paper. This is really important if you're a musician in the future. You get something like this because, as you can see, you can see my little doodles and stuff like that. This is like a minuet that I wrote a long time ago. Don't remember when, but wrote a long time ago. And I use this to write music and stuff like that, and it helps me remember things that I forget, as long as I know what key I'm playing, and I think I remember, the tones off that. So let me get a big piece of paper, and let's go ahead and start drawing that. Dilio, we'll wait on hearing that. It's probably, I haven't heard it. Okay, I'm back with this piece of paper. Please bear in mind, I'm not the best drawer, so it's gonna it's gonna do what it's gonna do here. So I'm gonna probably draw 5 lines here. 3. Okay, draw another 5 lines here. Once again, I'm going to bridge these two to make it a staff, full staff. So that way you know it's a full staff. Full staff. Okay? So, what do the lines and the spaces represent? The lines and the spaces represent the notes that go to it. Okay? So, for example, if you want to say, write the word how are you, right? You got to know that you have to start from left to right, and you have to know the letters in the alphabet to communicate, whether it's Chinese or Mandarin or Japanese and whatnot. So that's what we're going to do here. So the most famous of all the notes, I guess, is middle C. Middle C is actually going to be spacious. It's going to be right here. So this right here is C, also known as middle C, right? And I apologize if the screen is kind of like iffy or whatnot. Just kind of bear with me on that. It's kind of a what we call a out of the blue thing, just to test out the live stream for future stuff. Okay. All right. So I'll just put that down in there. C, it's middle C. Okay. Let's hear what middle C sounds like. That's middle C right there. Okay. So middle C, if you hopefully you heard that. I don't know if you can hear middle C on that, but that was. Let me know, guys who are watching, if you heard middle C. But that's middle C right there. I always say when you learn the notes where they are on the staff, learn where they are on the piano. So right here is the piano, as you can see right here. Middle C is located right here, as you can see. Middle C is right here. Anything below this goes to this part of the staff right here. Okay? Alright. Yeah, I'll probably do slice. But it's easier if I just draw it, so that way they can draw it. I'd like people to follow the drawing too. So, now, as you can see right here, right, that middle C right here splits everything up. You have your bass and then your treble, right? So let's start with the easy parts first, okay? Let's start with the spaces. So what's easy about the spaces in the treble clef, we just know it's face. F, A, C, E. Now I'm going to draw it diagonally so you can kind of see it right there. And F, A, C, E would look like this because we're going up the scale, right? F, A, C, E. It's also what we call F major 7. But that's what an FAC would look like on the piano and sound like in tone. What's going on, Dad? Just give a shout out to my old man for watching. I love you, old man. So you know that FACE, as you can see here, is above middle C, correct? So it's going to be on the right side, okay? Now, let's talk about, we're just going to stay on the treble clef right now, okay? So let's talk about the lines. Lines are really confusing, so we have kind of like several acronyms for them. Acronyms is you take the note names and you give them words to them. So I like to say, every good band draws fans. So let me kind of embolden this. So the very bottom line is E, second line G, third line B, fourth line D, last line F. So every good band draws fans. That's what I go by. Just think about that. If you're in a band, there you go. It's very simple. If you have some other way, like every good boy does fine. I mean, there's many other ways to do it. I just did it this way because when I taught myself, I kind of was in a band and we were doing that kind of thing, so I had to remember. Okay, there you go. So that's going to be it for the treble clef. So again, you got F-A-C-E for the spaces, E, G, B, D, F for the lines. So I guess I'll play that. Okay, again, remember we're to the right side of the piano, so that's E, G, B, D, and then F. Remember, because middle C is here, anything below that is what we call treble, or bass, sorry, bass. Everything above that is treble, so E, G, B, D, F. That's what it would look like, essentially, on piano. It's really important to, when you do this, if you don't own a piano, when I learned music, I didn't have a piano, I didn't have a guitar, I didn't have anything. I had a recorder, but you can't really do nothing on a recorder, right? You can't really, physically see the note. I mean, you can if you hold the holes, but what I tell people, if you can't afford any piano or you're in the process of buying a piano, print out, because we have the internet now, print out just a piano, note, like it shows piano, like the keys. And on those piano keys, what you want to do is write in the notes, where middle C is. So just remember, it starts on C, ends on C. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. After G, you go to A, B, C. G is the final note in the white keys. I say start on the white keys because then when you start doing C sharp, D sharp, or D flat, E flat, B flat, you kind of get lost. So you probably lost people on that, but we'll talk about that. Before I go any further into the next part of this, does any of you guys on there have questions? Have I lost any of you guys? I know I have a few people watching, but if you're watching from like Facebook, please get into YouTube, and then you could write a comment. It's a lot easier. I mean, I'm gonna check my stuff, but it's a lot easier because I could see. I have it on the screen. I could see what you guys are doing. But again, just to reiterate what we talked about the staff. We talked about that this right here, this thing informs us that we are either using an instrument that has both a treble or a bass typically, and honestly I mean, because I play the piano, I just assume it's a piano. Now obviously there's people might say voicing, but voicing is, the staffs are different, and you have your alto clef, I believe tenor clef. There's different clefs, believe it or not, folks, than just treble and the bass. I'll get into that later when if people have more questions about that in the next topic video. But right now, just treble and bass, and I should have drawn a treble clef, but again, treble clef starts at the G. You wrap it around, pull it up, and it would look like that. That's what treble looks like. Bass, you start at the F, up and over. You have a line in the circle in the G and E, like that. How I learned to do this on the fly was repetition. So I'm going to tell you this over and over and over, and it may not make sense to you, and you might say, oh well, I don't like that, and I don't care for that. But repetition is the only way to get better. Doing something over and over and over. I wouldn't have known how to do all this if I didn't do things over and over and over and over and over. So again, repetition is key to your success, and it's key to really getting better at music. It's not an easy thing at all, but it helps you remember, so that way you don't have to remember. That's the point. You should be able to know, if I tell you, hey, B flat, you should know what's in B flat, because if you did it over and over, it's just, okay, let's roll. Alright? Now, we're going to talk about the bass clef. Now, the bass clef, I don't have like this special situation. Everything I'm going to be using is acronyms, just like I did with the lines on the treble clef. Now, for the spaces, we start on the spaces. For the spaces on the bass clef, it's going to be all cows eat grass, which is true, I guess, in a sense. As you can see there, all cows eat grass. All in the spaces, okay? So the next one, it's going to be weird, really weird. My teacher, Matthew Bear, shout out to Matt Bear, Dr. Bear is what I like to call him. He used the acronym for the lines on the bass clef. It's green birds don't fly away. So I'm going to kind of erase this bass so you can see what I'm doing here. Alright, so green birds don't fly away. Again, just acronyms. If you find, like it's like good boys do find always, you know, anything that works, that reminds you that, okay, this is G, this is B, this is D. Believe it or not, that's how I do things. I do acronyms to remember where the clef is. Now, it's important to you guys to note that sight reading is really important to practice every day. I've been terrible at it. I try to do it, but I'm terrible at it. But sight reading every day will enhance you to not have to do all this, okay? But this is great for beginners, and it will help them draw out the line. Now, before I get further into this, as you can see, the lines where I was saying why I call it the G clef, why I call it the F clef, is because, as you can see for the bass, the F clef right here, this is the F line, right? The F, you start your bass there, you go over, and there you have it right there. And the G, see your G? I start at the G, come up and about and over. Again, this is small scale G, but you start on the G and it makes it into something like that. Okay. Hey, what's up, Jay? How do I go live? This is this is spontaneous combustion going on right now. I've been asked a lot of questions about theory, so I might as well do the video live, and obviously I could play it back for you guys to a point where you could see it. So now the biggest question is, what the heck does this all mean? It means a lot when you're writing music. It means a whole lot when you're writing music. It's the language of art. It's the language of life. It's what we do. It's what we read. Some people don't read. Some people don't care for that. They listen. Michael Jackson is known for that. He don't care. He never cared for reading music. He didn't need to learn that. He's what he said in a deposition. So I disagree. I think this is wholeheartedly important. This is what builds you as a musician, aside from being an entertainer. This is important. Everybody tells me, oh, you don't need music. It's great to have an ear. It's great to have an ear. But when you're put in a position where it's like, hey, we want to gig you, and they throw down some sheet music, and you're like, oh, I need to hear it first. Oh, we don't have time for you to hear it. We need to read it. Let's go. A lot of time that has happened to me where I was in a position where they say, hey, C major, let's go. Oh, shoot. I don't, you know. Well, what does it all mean? I don't know. You tell me. Music is open-ended. So, before I go any further, anybody have any get lost throughout the building of the staff, the treble, bass, clef, and the notes on the staff? Where are they located? If you do, leave a comment, and I will go on. Now, on my left side of my screen, I could see the live feed. On my right side of the screen, I'm seeing my feed as we go. So we are delayed. There is a latency. There is some latency going on. So yes, it's a little bit late. But I can see as we're going, I can see the comments. So yeah, you might have asked something further back. So I'm checking on just to ask. So now we're going to say, okay, well, what does this all mean? Okay, what does this all mean? Well, we're going to write it. That's what we're going to do. We're going to write music here. And give me a minute. And we're going to talk about the music. Damn, it's already been 30 minutes in. Wow. So we got that basic part out of the way. We're good. So now I want to talk about scales that include this right here. What's a scale? A scale is a note that belongs to its diatonic note. Diatonic note means that it belongs to the scale. It sounds kind of weird. Yes, Jay, that's the point of this. I am going to leave my videos up so you could see the basics. Now, I mean, obviously I'm going to have a better video after in the future with more slideshows and stuff like this. But like I said, guys, this is just kind of like a quick thing because I had a lot of people asking me questions about this, and I figured, you know what, let's do a live video, play it back, maybe someone can learn something from this. Hopefully this helps. You don't have to be a piano player. You could be a guitar player. You could, matter of fact, be a singer. And if you know the pitches you're singing, then great, that's awesome. So what I want to do is really focus over the scales and what they mean. Now, as I said before, diatonic means that the scale, it belongs to the scale that is chosen. So if I choose C, now as I said, this is middle C. You also have to build an ear for that. That's a major scale, okay? Now, we're not going to talk about this, but this is a Dorian scale. They have characteristics. All I did was, for the major scale, is go from C to C. Now, basing off the major scale, I went to a Dorian mode. Now, it's not necessarily a scale, it's a mode. I went to Dorian in C major, starting from D to D, using diatonic pitches that belong to C. Now, when I said diatonic, I meant that every note belongs to the scale. Now, you'll have things what we call accidentals, which are lowered or rose notes that don't belong to the scale. Now, what does this all mean? Another name for a scale is called key. When you ever start playing someone that says, yo man, like I had this incident where I was playing live for my buddy and I couldn't really hear myself, and I'm thinking, okay, this is the scale, and they're like, oh man, you're in the wrong key. I'm like, okay. Being in the wrong key means, say for example, I have a song in C major, right? Again, C major is a scale, also known as a key. And I have another song in F major. I'm just going to play F major for you. Okay, that's F major. This is C major. They're really, they have different tones to them, essentially. So if you were to play some music in F major while you're on top of C major scales here, we would consider that out of key, because this, what we like to call B flat, is not in the scale of C major. C major is all white keys, B is natural. Now, what do this all mean? What I'm saying? What is short, sharp, flat, or I guess natural? Natural means the note that it is, without any characteristics, no risen pitches. So, for example, right? Let's take a look at that. This is C, right? This is C sharp. We would normally call this C, but another name, if it's on a scale where this C note is normally a sharp, and we lower it, we'll call it a natural. Okay. Now this right here is a flat. Okay. So this is technically B or C flat. Now, I know I might be a little bit over people's heads, but I'm going to break it down though. When I said C flat, I'm also saying B. What does this mean? This means inharmonic. Inharmonic means it's the same note, different name. The reason why we do C flat or B is because the way it's written on a scale. You'll start going into double flats, double sharps. You don't want to do all that. There are such things as double flats and double sharps when you're writing. The way a scale is written one note at a time. You can't have C, C sharp, D, F. It doesn't work essentially that way. It's either C, D flat, right? Because you're using D, it has to go to D, F, F sharp, F flat, right? And then E, E flat. It can't be E, then E flat. Now, again, that's what we call the scale, and that's what we call our major or minor. Now, modes are different. We're not talking modes. So modes are different. Modes, you might see that. Like, for example, you might see that in the C blues. So that's the C blues, you know. And you'll see a little bit, you'll see things differently in modes. So what I played right there is a modal tone right there, okay, or modal scale. Now, we're going to build a C major scale, okay? A C major scale, we're going to start on D, right? We're going to start on D. We're going to, C, sorry, why did I say D? We're going to start on C. We're going to go D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. Okay? I'm going to show you how to build this, so it's going to be really neat here. I'm going to make it bigger for you guys so you can see this. I like to get me a whiteboard and put it in the back here and then draw it and then talk to you guys. That's what I might do. I might do that if people want some help, because I love teaching music theory. It's fun. So you look at this. Here's a C scale. Now, if you're watching this and you got a pen and a piece of paper laying around, follow me. Follow me. And then if I'm doing too fast, slow me down. You know, we can talk about that. But we're just building a major scale right now. Let's focus on C. Why are we focused on C? Because it's all white keys. And this is what's so cool about what we call building up scales. So what I want for you guys to do is, you see this C right here? Let's put an R on that C, right? The name R or 0 means root or starting note. Also means diatonic pitch. Diatonic pitch means it belongs to the scale. Another thing we might want to call the note, obviously starting note, root. But another name for it is a tonic. Tonic means that's the main note that you're going to do. It's the main note. So we can call it tonic, root, 0, whatever you feel. All right? Now, how do I know this is a major scale? I got a great ear, you know, I just can hear it. No, that's not true. The reason why I know it's a major scale is by these rules here. These rules will work for any note you start on. That's what I love about this, okay? So let's look into what steps are, okay? Now, on the piano here, we see C, right? This is middle C again. Now, we're going to learn about steps. Steps means, when I say step, I mean I'm going up 1. I went up 4 steps, okay? Now, you start on the note, but you do not count the note. Now, when I talk about scale degrees later, that's different. But when we talk about steps, you never count the note you start on. So C is always 0. Whatever note, you don't count. 1, 2. So now I got to 2, right? So I counted 2. So under 2, I'm going to put 2 here. Okay? You see that? A lot of people will say 1, and that's okay. Going through music theory, it was always 1 right here. It was always 1, but you could say root or 0 or 1. I'm just giving you options, what works for you. Sometimes this stuff doesn't work for people. All right. Now we're going to start on D. Now we're going to go up 2 again, not counting the note. So 1, 2. That's E. Perfect. So now I'm going to write 2 on E. All right. When I get finished with this, you're going to see the bigger picture. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be amazing because we're going to pull out other scales just by this little what I call this the numbers game. Some people can just go off scale degrees and listening, but I'm here to show you raw basics. Sometimes numbers works. Some people hate math, so if you hate math, ear is probably the better thing, or writing it on paper will be. So we started on root or 0 or 1. We went up 2, we got D. We went up another 2, we got E. Okay. Now the question is like how did you start with the letter, all these numbers? First and foremost, I can start because I have the ear. I can tell you that right here. This is not major. This is minor. I can tell you that this is not major or minor. This is a what we call a modal tone scale. Okay, so I began going off ear, knowing the scale. Now, if you don't have an ear, this is why we're building the scale, so you can see these numbers put to use. Okay, now we're on E. As I said before, when you do your half steps or your steps, you never count the note you start on. So here's E. Now remember, on the note we have E, so that's 1. So now we're going to put 1 down. Okay. Like I said, if you're watching and you have a pen and a paper, follow me, and you'll see what we're doing here. So far we've got root 2, 2, 1 to start this scale here. Okay. Now we're going to go to find G. So again, when you're doing steps, you have to go through every note. Remember that, folks, every note. So here's F. You skip this note. You never count the note you start on. 1, 2. We're on G. So now we're going to go to 2. Okay. So far, you're doing good, I hope, right? So if you're following me, you should know that on G, you know you're going to probably do what? Another 2, right? 1, 2. G. So G is another 2. So now you're going to put from G to A, it's 2, right? So what's your another guess on there? So we're on G. What do you think we're probably going to do, right? Same thing, right? 1, 2, B. All right, see that? 2. Now, we're going to go from B. What do you think? I say 1. Back to C. And that's 1. Okay? Now here's the trick. We now solve the formula for any major scale with these numbers. Any major scale in half steps. So 1 is considered a half step. 2 is considered a whole step. Okay? And I'm going to show you something. This is, if you don't like numbers, this is what I'm going to show you. You know that a half step is 1, a whole step is 2, right? We got that? Okay. Now, I'm going to do numbers so that way you can see it. I'm not going to show you my way, but I'm going to do numbers though. So for a major scale, we know it's 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. Okay? By counting, we know that. Okay? So take a look at that. Right? I just want to double check myself. G to A's. Okay, A to B. Bam, 1. Okay? So C to D is 2, E is 2, E to 1 is 1. So that's 2, right? Because you got F. Okay. Now, here you go. So now, we're going to do this right here. We're going to look at how this works, right? Okay. You don't need to count this one out. You don't really need that one. Okay. Just remember that. That one is your main, your tonic. Your tonic is also known as the root. Okay. So we know that from the root, it's whole, whole. I should do the right way, sorry. W, W, H, W, 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 H. Okay, that's what this is corresponding to from the root note. Remember, if you don't like numbers, you can use letters. Okay. Okay, off the record, split cam view. I'm using OBS, and I have one camera here and one camera here. So I'm using 2 cameras that are plugged in via USB to the recording software, which allows me to then use whatever input I'm using. Yeah. All right. So you know that from the root, guys. Remember, you gotta remember this. From the root, I'll just put R. From the root, we know that whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step makes a major scale. Okay, this makes a major scale. It's crazy, I know. This is a formula where it is, in my opinion, it's unfeathered. It's 100% truth. It's the gospel. It's the Bible. It's 100% truth. There is nothing that could ever say that this is not right. Okay. There's nothing ever that could say this is not right. This is really key to learning. It's pretty cool. So now, remember how it said F? Let's start on F, right? Right. We're gonna use the F. Now, if you've got a piano with you, if you got, pull it out, or if you got, you can go on your phone and look up what a piano is and see the notes. You'll know. We're gonna just start on F, right? F is our root, right? F is our root. Now, by the rules of these numbers, you guys, you're going to count 2, right? So I'm going to start on F. You guys can hear it, so you'll be able to follow me. So I'm going to go 2 half steps. 1, 2. And so right after F, I know that's G, right? Okay? Because I'm going 2. Now I'm going to go 2 again. I'm on G, right? This is G. I'm going to go 2. That's A. Okay, that's A. Right? Now, didn't I say that F has a flat, right? Well, here we go. Look, right here, that 1. So, if we go up 1 from A, what do we get? B flat. So, how do we write that? B with a flat, like that. Okay, that's what a flat looks like. So, a sharp would be like this, a natural would be like this, and a flat would be like this. So this is a sharp, natural, flat. Okay? Now, we're going to go from B flat, and we're going to go 2 half steps, which is C, because I'm just following again, guys. If you wrote down, I'm following at this. This is where we are now. Now we're moving to this one. So we're going to start from C, go up 2 half steps, or what we can call a whole step. I got D. Again, another 2 from D. That's E. And then, if the rule serves me correct, we have 1 half step to go, F. And this, my friends, is what an F major scale looks like. Let's hear the F major scale. Here we go. Let me do it a little slower for you guys. So that is how you build a basic major scale. Okay, so my time is running low, and I'm really hungry. So my last part is, let's do a minor scale. Okay, so what's the main difference between a minor scale and a major scale is that you'll have these degrees. Now, I've already told you about talking about what degrees are. Now, degrees are not the same as steps, so please understand that. In a degree, we start from whatever's 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're just going to do that for right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we could say 8, but we could put O for octave, because there's really only 7 notes in a scale, the 8th being the same note, just at a higher register. Okay, that's what we call octave. So as you can see here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 octave. Now, what we call those numbers, they're called degrees. Remember how I said don't get confused with half step and degrees? When you start from a degree, you actually have to count that degree first and then move up. That's how you'll build chords. Now, we're not going to get into chords right now because I'm short on time, but that is the basics right there for degrees. Okay, so back to what I was talking about, A minor. Well, what's the difference between A minor or what's the difference between A minor and major, right? Well, A minor to C major is what we call relative. What does relative mean? Relative means that they have the same note, but they're played at a different note. Their starting note is different. So, for example, how do we know what a relative note is? You saw how I drew those numbers, wrote those numbers under the scale, right? Look, all we have to do is go to our 6th note. If you write out a scale, all you have to do is go to your 6th note. Circle your 6th note. That is what you call your relative minor. Now, here's another trick. If you're really good with half steps, you should know that your starting note, right? So is C, right? That's your starting note. If you go down 3 half steps, that right there is your relative minor. So your takeaway is your 6th scale degree, or 3 half steps down from your tonic note, that is your relative minor. Okay? So how does a relative minor work? Well, I'm going to do this a little bit fast, but it's the same reasoning that we do. Now, since you've already built the major scale, that's what's so cool about the major scale, learning the major scale, because once you know the major scale, you really know the minor scale. You really do. Essentially, you really do. So let's go with C. Remember how I said that the difference between C major and A minor is all relative, meaning that you start on the note that is relative to it. So, for example, C, go 3 half steps down or 6 up, it's A. So all you have to do is start on A and then end at A. That's it, off your major scale, really. So again, say we start on 6, right? 6 is A, right? All you do is go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. And right here, folks, is what we call the natural minor. Now, I'm not going to go into the types of minors right now because I'm short on time, but that's your natural minor. As I said before, we have a formula. Now, our formula is going to kind of follow the same way as the formula as what we call the major formula. Now, it's a little bit different because some things are a little bit separated. So, I'm going to go off, what I know, and I'm just going to start right here. So, starting from the root, we know it's 2. From B to C, we know it's 1, 2, 2, 1. For F to G is 2. G to A is 2. And A to B is 2. Okay? Now, what the heck did I just do? Well, as you watched previously, I went from a half step, I went in increments of half steps, and I named them. Now, 2 means whole step, 1 means half step. So, as we write it down as I did previously for the major, I have H, or W, H, W, W, H, W, W, W. And as you can see, this formula right here, this formula proves the theory that this is an A minor. Now I'll play an A minor scale for you. Here we go. That's an A minor scale. Okay. Now, remember how we learned how to do the minor scale? It's the same notes. But here's the thing. If you already know the major, all you have to do is literally flip it around. You already know that, okay, well, C, I go down 3 half steps, C, A, oh, A minor. Or if I go to F, like we did, 3 half steps, oh, it's D. Well, if someone says A minor, and you don't know your minors, right? Do the opposite. Start on A, go up 3 half steps, and then you go to C. So now you know, oh, because I learned C major, I know A minor, because they're all relative, right? That's what we talked about, was relativity. So if we started F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, and back to F, right? And we jotted down our scale degrees with numbers starting with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and O, octave, or 8 if you choose, right there, as you see right there. You'll see that, again, the 6 is right there. So we start on the 6 and we just continue down the line. So we go D, E, F, G, A, B flat, right? Right? Okay, C, and then back to D. And that's what we call D minor, right? This is our minor. Now, if you look at the rules, right, we know that from the start, right, the root, it's a whole step. E to F is a half step, okay? Whole step again, whole step, okay? So A to B flat is what? A to B flat, A. Think of jaws. That's a half step, or we call minor second. Then we're going to go to a whole step and back to another whole step. And those rules apply to your major and your minor. So what I want to enforce you guys to do is to jot down those numbers that I gave you. Okay, now you saw it in the video. Now when the video is finished, you can probably go through and take a look at it later. But jot down those numbers and apply it. Now, numbers and writing the music is really good because you know your sheet, but it's even better when you play your scales. So every time you build a scale, play your scale. For example, let's do D major. Now let's do D minor. You hear a big difference, and you start growing these differences in your brain and your ear. You start telling your ear, okay, well, this is how this works. So for example, when I'm writing music or I'm listening to music, everybody asks me about my beat remix. This is what right here. This helps me with my beat remix. So they say, well, what, how do you start with the beat remix? I find a note that I find that I'm relatively close to. So for example, say you're just doing like a You Rock My World Michael Jackson beat, and I know that I'm always hearing this F. This F sharp here. I know, okay, well, I know F sharp is in there. I know for a fact F sharp is in there. So then I break down what major chords will have F sharp in there. If it sounds major, you're going to hear more of a happy tone. If it sounds quiet, more of a sad tone. Now, that's generic, and that's not a golden rule. Sometimes I've heard beautiful minor scales, and you think, oh my God, well, it's minor? It sounds kind of major. It's all happy. But don't always confuse it with happy, but you'll know when you start playing your scales if you're in the wrong scale or not. And that's quite important. But please, since you've watched this video, take those numbers and practice those numbers. Pick any note and follow those notes and build a scale starting from C to F sharp. I would like to see you guys do F sharp or G flat major with these notes that I gave you, the numbers. So the numbers, again, for the, you missed it, the numbers I gave you right here for your major, right there, is right there. Follow those numbers, right, and you'll be good. And it will help you build a major. Once you know your major, you know all your minors. I think that's just a giveaway, dead giveaway. Dead giveaway. I'm just kidding. But once you know all your majors, you know your minors. So today we talked about the staff, what it is, what it functions as, treble, bass. We learned about the notes on the staff, and we learned about how to make major and minor chords. So in the next video that we might be talking about, we'll be talking about ledger lines. What are ledger lines? Ledger lines are notes that aren't in the range of the staff. And I'm gonna show you a very simple, easy trick for you to learn. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. It's a long hour. Hopefully you learned something from it. And if I messed up on something, let me know, and it'll help me be a better teacher to help you. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't, check out my website, martinrossmusic.com, so you can see my original material. And if you haven't followed me or subscribed to me yet, do it now. Martin Ross Chronicles. Hopefully I have more videos for you guys today. And so for those who are interested in learning the basics, part 1 of music theory, there you are, there you have it. Thank you guys so much for watching. It was great seeing you guys, chatting with you guys. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, Dad. Thank you, Dilio, and all those other guys. I saw you guys watching on there. Thank you guys so much. I will be floating around the comments to see if you have any questions. So if you have any advice or any things you want to learn for the next subject, let me know. You guys take care, guys. Thank you so much for watching.